a month, and you'll get the best customer service in the business. I want to invite you to join the millions of people who choose something better than big wireless. Because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
While retinitis pigmentosa takes Mark's vision, his family gives him hope, whether at the family business or at home with his wife and sons. He knows he's not fighting alone. For 50 years, the Foundation Fighting Blindness has funded research into treatments and cures for blinding retinal diseases, providing hope to people with vision loss. And for Mark, winning the fight means being there for his family. The Foundation Fighting Blindness. Together, we're winning. Help us end blinding diseases at fightingblindness.org.
Hey parents, you don't need the latest gizmo, slang, or clothes to be a perfect parent, because kids in foster care don't need perfection. They need you. For more information on how you can adopt, go to adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is WBNW 1120 AM. This is the Money Matters Radio Network. WBNW 1120 AM and W275 CM FM. Concord, Boston. The Money Matters Radio Network.
Here at the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, we are committed to all students not only attending, but succeeding at school. Your presence is powerful. Share why you attend at doe.mass.edu.
Sponsored by the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education.
As a busy mom to 4 kids, my to-do list is full.
Trying to fit in exercise, eating right, and prioritizing self-care can feel next to impossible.
While we can't add more hours to the day, we do have a great resource to help.
Go Red for Women has easy tips, tools, and information to help you and your family live a healthier life.
So to all the moms, the aunts, the grandmothers, and amazing women out there doing it all,
visit goredforwomen.org/momlife today.
You take care of them, Go Red for Women will take care of you.
Hi, this is Chuck and Mike from the Armstrong Advisory Group, and our guide this month is titled Owning Real Estate in Retirement. Mike, when we talk about someone who might be considering a move from where they've lived pre-retirement to a new location, what are some of the main things they need to consider?
Yeah, I think that they need to focus on the costs first and foremost. I know a lot more goes into a decision like this than the costs alone, but what I find consistently is that folks in retirement overestimate how much they can save by moving and underestimate how much they're going to spend as they age to stay in their home. And so both of those factors are important when considering this big decision of, hey, do I consider downsizing or moving to another area?
One of the other things that we've seen over the past few years is that some of those estimates of costs can change quickly as well. I think about insurance in Florida as an example, property taxes in parts of the country. These are things that you need to account for, and that those costs might change as you go through retirement.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are easy to identify. Like, yeah, insurance costs have sure gone up a lot, and maybe they'll continue to do so. Electricity costs are another one. The others, though, are much more difficult to quantify. Like, I currently snow blow my driveway. How much longer will I be able to do that? How much longer will I be able to climb up the ladder and clean the gutters? Like, these are really complex questions that you need to very much think through as you age in your home.
Our guide is titled Owning Real Estate in Retirement, and there are 2 ways to request it. The first is by calling 800-393-4001. The second is by going to armstrongadvisory.com. Again, the guide is titled Owning Real Estate in Retirement, and you can request it at armstrongadvisory.com.
The proceeding was paid for by Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. Nothing in the ad or in any Armstrong guide is specific financial, legal, or tax advice. Consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong may contact you to offer investment advisory services.
Mark Vonner is the CEO of Veterans Development Corporation. Mark faithfully served his country from 1981 to 1984, and we're thrilled to have him as a partner and presenting sponsor of the DAV 5K Boston. Mark comes from a proud military family that includes his father Victor and brother Timmy. Mark talks often about how serving his country was one of the greatest achievements of his life, and it's one of the main reasons he chooses to give back to this special community. Mark is honored to continue the legacy that his father started when he built Veterans Development Corporation. Working to help many disabled veterans and their families has become a lifelong goal for Mark, and it's why he's taken the time to fully support the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts. You can join Mark and help our great American heroes today by making a donation to support the DAV Department of Massachusetts. Please visit dav5k.boston. That's dav5k.boston.
Estate planning doesn't have to be complicated. Cushing & Dolan's new guide, The Simplicity of Joint Revocable Trusts, shows couples how to stay in control, avoid probate, and help protect what they've built for their family. Call 866-848-5699 right now and ask for your free copy today. That's 866-848-5699. Or request it online from our website, LegalExchangeShow.com. The proceeding was paid for and the views expressed are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Cushing & Dolan and or Armstrong Advisory may contact you offering legal or investment services. Cushing & Dolan and Armstrong Advisory do not endorse each other and are not affiliated.
This is Michael Valila, Adjutant of the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts. The DAV of Massachusetts has helped me and countless others adjust to civilian life through a variety of incredible programs. Through our local Veterans Assistance Program, we provide necessary services to veterans and their communities, such as food shopping, landscaping, and companionship, but we need your support. You can help by making a donation today. Please visit dav5k.boston. That's dav5k.boston.
The Financial Exchange is produced by Money Matters Radio and is hosted by employees of the Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. All opinions expressed are solely those of the hosts, do not reflect the opinions of Armstrong Advisory or anyone else. Investments can lose money. This program does not offer any specific financial or investment advice. Please consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong Advisory and the advertisers heard on this program do not endorse each other or their services. Armstrong and Money Matters Radio do not compensate each other for referrals and are not affiliated. This is the Financial Exchange with Chuck Zodda and Mike Armstrong. Your exclusive look at business and financial news affecting your day, your city, your world. Stay informed and up to date about economic and market trends, plus breaking business news every day. The Financial Exchange is a proud partner of the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts. Help us support our great American heroes by visiting dav5k.boston and making a donation today. This is the Financial Exchange with Chuck Zodda and Mike Armstrong.
Chuck Mike Tucker with you here today. And as we continue through the first week of November, we are now into day 36 of, actually technically day 37 of the government shutdown. And no end in sight at this point. Betting markets actually, at this point, Kalshi now saying, hey, we're betting, not we're, but, Kalshi market saying 48.3 days, which you do the math out, that gets you to, the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. And that's cutting it pretty close to be able to say you're going to have everything all, hunky-dory on that side for, people trying to get places at that time. But this is where we are. We're going to get to more on the flight side of things and what's going on with airlines. But I want to kick things off talking a little bit about artificial intelligence. And forgive me if, it feels like we've talked about this before because...
What do you mean, Chuck?
Look, quite honestly...
You heard about this?
Quite honestly, for about 710 out of the last 750 trading days, we've covered something AI-related on our show.
Probably.
So I get it if you're like, oh boy, here it goes again, blah, 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 blah. No, I'm here to tell you that November 5th, 2025 is a day that will go down in history. Because I think this is the popping, Mike.
Really?
Yes.
Yesterday was the popping of the bubble.
Yes. Here's what we had yesterday. Jensen Huang does an interview with the Financial Times, and he says China's going to win the AI race. He then issued a correction, shortly after, being like, oh, well, what I meant is, we're running really fast, but we've got to keep it up.
By the way, if China wins the AI race, which they are not using any Nvidia chips, we are talking about the leader of the largest company in the world, and definitely
saying his stuff doesn't matter.
Right.
So, yeah. It's the exact thing I was going to say. It's like, okay, so you're saying China's going to win the AI race. Let's unpack what this means. They're not using your technology, and you think they're going to win. why should we buy your technology then? And there's no answer to that question. There is no answer. Now, I'm not saying that Nvidia chips are bad. Like, they're, again, like, by all accounts, and again, I'm not the expert here, but by all accounts, they are the cream of the crop. They are the best technology in the AI space. But if you don't need the best technology to win the AI race, then why would you buy the best technology to win the AI race? That's like the question that you ask. He then tries to, walk it back and say, his quote is, I've long said, China is nanoseconds behind America in AI. It's vital that America wins by racing ahead and winning developers worldwide. What does it mean to win AI? Like, it doesn't just end. It's like fashion. Like, you always have, like, something new. It's like, no one ever looked at, technology and is like, oh, gee, we got to Windows 95. I guess it's over.
Yeah, I feel like people were probably asking the same question during the nuclear arms race. What's it mean to win this? And then we got to mutually assured destruction, and that's what kind of got there.
Right. So here's like our AIs are going to destroy each other?
I don't know. I'm unclear about what that means, yeah.
So you got Jensen saying this, which basically also comes off as like kind of begging, like, hey, like, someone's got to help me out. And it's kind of... Quite honestly, I'm starting to get kind of sick of it. It's like, I can't deal with this every week, like, him asking for more help and more money in this. Like, dude, you run a semiconductor company. It's not my responsibility to make sure that you're copacetic.
Well, and the comment itself, if we take it, let's not take it as off-the-cuff remark that he honestly believes. Let's take it as CEO of a company is trying to achieve something. With a comment like that, what you are trying to achieve is the U.S. government getting more involved in your business and opening up either faster ways to produce the chips or, I guess, getting a way to get them into China. Because his comment was basically that we are selling no chips in China now.
And this is where we get to the part that I find really problematic from yesterday. Mike, do you know who Sarah Fryer is?
The name sounds familiar.
I didn't before yesterday, in full disclosure. She's the CFO of OpenAI.
Oh, yes. Okay, that's where it came from. Yep.
She's the CFO of OpenAI, so she runs the business side and makes sure that the numbers add up. And she was at a Wall Street Journal conference yesterday and said in no uncertain terms, this is her direct quote, I'll read the piece from Bloomberg. Speaking at a Wall Street Journal business conference, OpenAI CFO Sarah Fryer explained that government backing could help attract the enormous investment needed for AI computing and infrastructure, given the uncertain lifespan of AI data centers. This is where we're looking for an ecosystem of banks, private equity, maybe even governmental. Federal loan guarantees would really drop the cost of financing, she explained. And this is where I got to go full stop. Quite honestly, I am livid at these freaking people that think that you and me and everyone else living in the country should preemptively, not even because of like something, financial crisis-y or anything, preemptively be like, oh yeah, let's have the federal government backstop loans to artificial intelligence companies because, yeah, let's backstop the loans for the companies that are trying to take all of the jobs. What a rich comment. Like, what a load of crap. What a load of crap. I hope that this never happens.
It should never.
I am so upset. I can't, I read this and I was just like, you're asking for taxpayers to be on the hook proactively if loans to buy your magic machine data center, woohoo, whippy-gadoo, like, I'm so cool, I built a seal surfing video, flops. Give me a freaking break. They know there's nothing there. I feel like, quite honestly, after yesterday, I feel like they're all just carnival barkers. It feels like all they want is all of the money. And I'm tired of it now. I am tired of it.
It doesn't bother me that they want all of the money. It bothers me that they want the federal government to backstop their loans.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like, why do you need that? Why do you need a federal government backstop for AI loans? Do you think the loans are going to go bad? Because if you think the loans are going to go bad, then there's absolutely no reason to do it. So, like, I saw this yesterday, and I got to tell you, like,
I mean, again, it's like 24 hours later, and I'm still coming down from this. Like the audacity to be like, yeah, we could really use a federal government backstop. And of course, she backtracked and was like, oh, like that's not what I meant. It's like, well, these are your words, man,
lady.
Like what are we doing here? So I just look at this, and it's like, I don't know. It like when the CFO of the company that's committed to spend $1.5 trillion says, yeah, a government guarantee could really drop the cost of financing.
No kidding.
You don't have the money. You don't have the money, is what you're telling us.
So I'm with you there. Can we go back to the Nvidia comments here for a moment?
Yeah.
You and I have talked about this at length, and maybe not enough on the show itself, about the U.S. versus China and artificial intelligence. And I feel like one of the biggest stories of the year has been completely now forgotten and swept under the rug. What was the name of the company earlier this year out of China that produced
DeepSeek?
Go check your records on it. It was back earlier this year, and effectively this company came out and produced an incredibly compelling generative AI. They claimed to do it on no Nvidia chips. It was probably done on some Nvidia chips. But here, I think, is genuinely Jensen Huang's concern. China seems to be, well, he knows that they're not buying any of his chips, at least directly. Maybe they're getting around some of the export restrictions. He knows that the Chinese government is preventing them from being sold domestically in the country out of, security concerns, but other concerns. And he's seeing that domestic companies there are able to produce really compelling tools using artificial intelligence. And finally, he's looking at the U.S. situation and saying it's going to take a decade to get power plants on board. Everything moves much slower here. And so, yeah, maybe it was an intentional comment to get the government motivated to get in the fight with artificial intelligence in some way, kind of like OpenAI asked for more directly. But maybe it's coming out of genuine concern that, yeah, China is going to win this race. And I don't know what that means, practically speaking, but one thing it might mean is that China floods the market with cheap semiconductors that do 75 to 80% or more of what Nvidia chips do. And if that happens, again, today, Chuck, you tell me, what portion of the S&P 500 is comprised of Nvidia alone?
8.5.
Okay. Shot across the bow of that business model, right? If
and
China
way,
chooses to flood the market with cheap semiconductors that can do most of what Nvidia's can, then there isn't a great business model there.
And look, again, it's all kind of coalescing this week. Like, I'm sorry if I'm just like pulling things like together, like, all, that don't go together, but you had Satya Nadella saying, hey, the bottleneck is no longer in compute, it's in power. Okay, like that's another, like, again, it's fitting into this whole story. You've got Oracle. Do you remember Oracle a month and a half ago? Stock popped from, I want to get the numbers right just so that I have it square. Stock popped from $240 a share to $345 when they reported earnings because magically, like $300 billion in additional revenue commitments appeared on their, projections. Oracle, as of today, has given all of that pop back 2 months later.
Yeah.
And so this is all like kind of coalescing for me where I'm looking at it and, again, in the last like week or two, you've got OpenAI being like, yeah, we're going to allow adult users to get into erotica. And it's just, is any of this pointing towards like truly transformational stuff like that? And again, I'm not trying to like poo-poo the whole thing. I use artificial intelligence. I think it's useful. I think there are huge use cases. And I think that you can hold two views, one of which is I think we'll be using a lot more AI 5 years from now. And that this, like, something about this last couple weeks doesn't feel good for the AI story. Right?
Yep.
You're asking for loan guarantees. You're saying China's winning without your technology. You got stocks falling. Another CEO of one of the major companies saying it's not about compute anymore. It's about electricity. Like, something feels broken there. And granted, maybe they can get it back together. I mean, we were saying the same thing in March of this year, in February. And What we saw was in May, June, July, this whole line of new partnerships and you can sell to these countries and that kind of led the next leg up. So maybe there is this is just a pause, and 6 to 9 months from now we're like, oh, this is what the new models can do, and here's the transformation. But man, I don't like being sold by the company saying, yeah, we're going to spend $1.5 trillion. The idea of, hey, how about a government backstop for us? Oh, give me a break. Go out and take the risk every other business has to. But that's just me. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap up some thoughts there, and then we'll talk about the situation in U.S. air travel after this.
Missed one of our shows? Catch up anytime by asking your Alexa smart speaker to play The Financial Exchange. This is the Financial Exchange Radio Network. Estate planning doesn't have to be complicated. Cushing & Dolan's new guide, The Simplicity of Joint Revocable Trusts, shows couples how to stay in control, avoid probate, and help protect what they've built for their family. Call 866-848-5699 right now and ask for your free copy today. That's 866-848-5699. Or request it online from our website, legalexchangeshow.com. The proceeding was paid for and the views expressed are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Cushing & Dolan and or Armstrong Advisory may contact you offering legal or investment services. Cushing & Dolan and Armstrong Advisory do not endorse each other and are not affiliated.
This is Michael Valila, Adjutant of the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts. The DAV of Massachusetts has helped me and countless others adjust to civilian life through a variety of incredible programs. Through our local Veterans Assistance Program, we provide necessary services to veterans and their communities, such as food shopping, landscaping, and companionship, but we need your support. You can help by making a donation today. Please visit dav5k.boston. That's dav5k.boston.
Hi, this is Chuck Zodda from the Armstrong Advisory Group. Your home is more than just a place to live. It's part of your story. In retirement, real estate can play a powerful role in how you manage your wealth and plan for the next generation. Passing property to family members isn't always easy. One child might want to keep the home while another prefers to sell it. Maintenance costs, taxes, and distance to healthcare services are all important factors that need to be considered, which is why having a clear plan can help prevent family stress while keeping your wishes front and center. Our new guide, Owning Real Estate in Retirement, is designed to help you fit your property into a long-term strategy that supports your life today and preserves what matters most for your future. Get your free copy right now by calling 800-393-4001. That's 800-393-4001 or request the guide at armstrongadvisory.com.
The proceeding was paid for by Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. Nothing in the ad or in any Armstrong guide is specific financial, legal, or tax advice. Consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong may contact you to offer investment advisory services. The U.S. Virgin Islands isn't just a postcard. It's alive with rhythm, culture, and celebration. This December through early January, St. Croix lights up with the Crucian Christmas Festival, a heritage carnival tradition dating back to the 1800s. There are incredible parades through Frederiksted as the festival village buzzes with live music, reggae, soca, and local island beats, as well as streets filled with the scent of authentic Caribbean flavors. Beyond the festival, there's St. Thomas, fresh with cruise hub energy, duty-free shopping, and panoramic views at Magens Bay. St. John is quiet, wild, and pure, where every trail and beach is its own adventure. Explore one island or all three. Each offers something unique, all with warm hospitality and that easy island vibe. Travel from New England could not be easier. There's no passport needed and no money to exchange. This holiday season, plan your escape and fall naturally in rhythm with the heartbeat of the islands. Visit usvi.com and book your trip today. That's visit usvi.com.
Cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer of women,
taking the lives of 1 in 3.
That's more than all forms of cancer combined.
For too long, heart disease and stroke have taken the lives of the women we love.
But we're not giving up.
Because we have something better.
Stronger, more powerful.
We have each other.
When we come together and go red,
the more power we have against our greatest health threat.
Visit GoRedForWomen.org today to learn more.
It happens all over Massachusetts.
Can you tie my shoes?
In every home and every community.
Be careful on your bike.
Learning can happen anytime, anywhere.
We'll see you at practice this weekend.
And no matter how learning takes place in your family's life, DESE is there as your partner. The Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. Never stop learning. Find out more at mass.gov/back-to-school.
Sponsored by the Massachusetts Department for Elementary and Secondary Education.
Find daily interviews and full shows of the Financial Exchange on our YouTube page. Like us on YouTube and get caught up on anything and everything you might have missed. This is the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
This year's DAV 5K is sold out, but you can still help our great American heroes. The race is this Saturday at Castle Island, and you can visit dav5k.boston to make a donation of any amount to support our troops. Your gifts help fund free rides to medical appointments for veterans in the nation's first DAV-led housing initiative, providing homes for single veterans and veteran families. Go to dav5k.boston and make your donation today.
Mike, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy announced yesterday that the FAA was going to begin ordering air traffic to be reduced by 10% at 40 major airports starting this Friday. This as air traffic controllers work without pay due to the government shutdown. And look, we're now into unprecedented territory. We have never had a government shutdown that has lasted this long. And so, you start getting into things that we haven't necessarily seen before, this being one of them. Obviously, we've had, localized issues where for short periods of time there's been ground stops issued because of a lack of staffing, but this would be the first broad-based one that we've seen. And it comes as we are 3 weeks to the day out from Thanksgiving and about 2.5 weeks out from Thanksgiving travel really kicking off. And so you've got, again, a ticking clock out there to say, hey, are you going to be able to get something done before Thanksgiving? Betting markets are saying it's going to be another week and a half of this before something gets done. I don't think there's any unique insight there. I don't think they have, any edge, because if you look at betting markets, a month ago they were saying it was going to be 20 days. So it's just kind of nobody knows anything, and it doesn't seem like any progress is being made. But this is something where, hey, if you start having 3 million passengers a day where 300,000 of them are being disrupted, that's not really great heading into Thanksgiving. People are going to talk about that at the dinner table.
Yeah, and you do wonder how this all works, right? So if they start canceling flights, we're talking about between 35 and 4,500 flights a day, depending on which day you're measuring, but that's about the flight volume that we see across the U.S. I would assume you only start with canceling the immediate upcoming flights, but, the airlines need to maintain their schedules here, and if we're not. I just wonder how far in advance you cancel something, right? Because if you're being told, hey, this plane is not going to fly if the government's still shut down, then you probably want to notify those passengers sooner than later.
Well, it very much, this could easily turn into a cascading issue for airlines because, again, it's being able to get your flight crews and equipment to the locations that you need, and like, part of me looks at this and I'm like, are the schedules for the major airlines, is the overtime that they make going to offset the lack of pay for air traffic controllers? Because if you're working for United or Delta, like any of the airlines, and you're trying to figure this out over the next week or so, I don't even know where you start.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they have, computer systems that can help with this. But remember, when Southwest had their big problems a couple of years ago, the problem was that the system that was used in order to reschedule pilots was phone-in only. Airlines, for all of, the technological prowess in this and that, in order to, build airplanes and get them from point A to point B, the system for getting Southwest pilots to the right place was, hey, call this number and we'll tell you where you're supposed to be.
It's like movie phone from Seinfeld.
It's kind of wild.
Press one now.
So,
why don't you just tell me the name of the
movie? It's fantastic. So I think ultimately we're getting to the point now where there's a lot of publicly facing stuff that people are going to start noticing about the shutdown. And it's 10% now. I mean, this could get worse. And again, how do you know this doesn't lead to cascading issues where, okay, sure, 10% of flights are canceled, but 40% of flights are delayed by an hour or more now.
Tucker, Chuck, either of you flying for Thanksgiving?
No. God, no.
Nope.
Yeah, me either.
Not a chance.
I am excited. We broke a record though for the Armstrong Ely. That's
just say family
name. 101 people attending this year's Thanksgiving.
What are you having, a 400-pound turkey?
I think we've got 4 or 5 20-pounders.
Did you get one of those giant pumpkins from a state fair that you're going to do for pumpkin pie?
Ooh, I like that idea. like that idea. We have not, but
it's a big table, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's
100-person table. I think there might be a tent involved.
It's a bunk table.
Pass the potatoes.
Jimmy, over here. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we've got Wall Street Watch, and then we're talking tariffs.
Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter @TFE Show. Breaking business news is always first, right here on the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
Hi, this is Chuck Zodda from the Armstrong Advisory Group. Your home is more than just a place to live. It's part of your story. In retirement, real estate can play a powerful role in how you manage your wealth and plan for the next generation. Passing property to family members isn't always easy. One child might want to keep the home while another prefers to sell it. Maintenance costs, taxes, and distance to healthcare services are all important factors that need to be considered, which is why having a clear plan can help prevent family stress while keeping your wishes front and center. Our new guide, Owning Real Estate in Retirement, is designed to help you fit your property into a long-term strategy that supports your life today and preserves what matters most for your future. Get your free copy right now by calling 800-393-4001. That's 800-393-4001, or request the guide at armstrongadvisory.com.
The proceeding was paid for by Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. Nothing in the ad or in any Armstrong guide is specific financial, legal, or tax advice. Consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong may contact you to offer investment advisory services.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you from Senior Care USA. The average funeral now costs over $10,000. That leaves your loved ones the burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay your family up to $30,000 to help pay for your funeral and other expenses. There are no medical exams. Your rates will never increase, and your plan cannot be canceled, regardless of your medical conditions, as long as you make your premium payments. Get up to $30,000 in final expense insurance. Call now for free information. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 800-378-3818. 800-378-3818. 800-378-3818. That's 800-378-3818.
Mark Vonner is the CEO of Veterans Development Corporation. Mark is a career military man, having served for nearly 20 years, and we are so thrilled to have him and his company as a key partner and the presenting sponsor of the DAV 5K Boston. Mark comes from a proud military family, including his father Victor and his brother Timmy. Mark talks often about how serving his country was one of the greatest achievements of his life, and that's one of the key reasons that he chooses to give back to this special community. Mark is honored to continue his legacy that his father started when he built Veterans Development Corporation. Working to help many disabled veterans and their families has become a lifelong goal for Mark, and it's why he's taken the time to fully support the DAV Department of Massachusetts. You can join Mark Vonner and Veterans Development Corporation and help our great American heroes today by making a donation or becoming a sponsor. Simply visit dav5k.boston. That's dav5k.boston.
This is Tucker Silva of the Financial Exchange Show, and I'm joined today by estate planning attorney Todd Lutzke from the law firm of Cushing & Dolan with your Financial Exchange quick tip of the day. And today we're talking about joint revocable trusts. Todd, a lot of people think estate planning is complicated or something they can put off. Can you explain how a joint revocable trust can actually make things simpler for couples who just want to protect what they've built and keep things easy for their family?
Sure. Joint trusts are really so underutilized, but they're really the most important and easiest way to do planning. Many people think of two trusts, right? Splitting everything between a husband trust and a wife trust. Well, this already makes it simpler. If you have just one trust, you can both put your assets in the trust, whether you contribute the joint bank account or the joint brokerage account or the joint real estate and rental properties. It's easy. Just put it all into one trust and you're both trustees. So funding is simpler, operation is simpler, and most importantly, you can actually get a better result for moderate estates from an estate planning standpoint. Because on the first death, you get to cram down all the assets that are in the joint trust to get a step up in basis basis, whereas if you've separated the assets between the two trusts, you're only going to be able to cram down half as much. And if you do the planning right, you can actually use these trusts to get a double step up in basis when the surviving spouse dies.
Learn how you can avoid probate, eliminate estate taxes, protect your kids' inheritance, and keep your money in your family. Request this brand new guide from Cushing & Dolan. It's called The Simplicity of Joint Revocable Trusts. Call 866-848-5699. That's 866-848-5699. Or you can request it from their website, legalexchangeshow.com.
The proceeding was paid for and the views expressed are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Cushing & Dolan and or Armstrong Advisory may contact you offering legal or investment services. Cushing & Armstrong do not endorse each other and are not affiliated. Time now for Wall Street Watch. A complete look at what's moving markets so far today, right here on the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
Markets in negative territory this morning as traders continue to keep a close eye on AI stocks, which have seen some volatility this week over high valuation concerns. Wall Street's also awaiting developments from the Supreme Court's hearing on tariffs. Right now, the Dow is down about 0.5% or 219 points. S&P 500 is down 0.6% or 41 points. NASDAQ selling off over 1% now or 251 points lower. Russell 2000 down 0.8%. 10-year Treasury yield down 6 basis points at 4.095%. And crude oil down about 0.7%, trading right above $59 a barrel. Qualcomm shares down 2% after the semiconductor maker reported stronger than projected earnings. However, the company took a $5.7 billion non-cash charge linked to the One Big Beautiful Bill. Sticking with the chip sector, where Marvell Technology shares are jumping nearly 3% after Bloomberg reported that Japan's SoftBank has explored a potential takeover of the chip maker. Meanwhile, CarMax shares are sinking 12% after the used car retailer announced a weak preliminary outlook for its current fiscal quarter and said CEO Bill Nash would be unexpectedly stepping down. Elsewhere, DoorDash posted mixed third-quarter results. The food delivery company also said it expects to send several $100 million on new initiatives in development in 2026. That stock is down by 13%. AppLovin stock is up 1% after the advertising platform posted stronger than expected quarterly results and issued an optimistic fourth quarter outlook. And Peloton is recalling its original Bike Plus after receiving reports that the seat post broke and detached from the equipment during use, leading to 2 injuries. That, according to the Consumer Product Safety Commission in a news release earlier this morning. Peloton down by 3%. I'm Tucker Silva, and that is Wall Street Watch.
Can we check in on how much a Peloton bike costs?
Sure.
So I'm looking at the most expensive one, which is the Bike Plus. Because, again, if you're charging me, $2,700 and the thing is falling apart in front of me.
It's not great, Bob.
By the way, I was looking because my wife's a runner and we've been talking about, getting a treadmill, which I'm not going to do for Christmas because, that seems like a bad Christmas gift.
It seems like a Peloton commercial.
Yeah, it seems like a Peloton commercial. The treadmills, $6,700.
What's a normal treadmill cost? I don't have a point of comparison. I'm guessing it's probably
I went to
that.
Wirecutter to go look at hey, what do you think is the best ranked treadmill out there? And it was like $2,000.
Yeah, so a third of it. Look, and this is why I've said for a while, if there was ever a marriage that you could have, it would be Apple buying Peloton because Apple commands a premium price point even though they don't have the best product.
Yep.
Peloton's trying to do the same thing, but it's just,
I'm seeing a couple treadmills for $300, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sure you can go on Facebook Marketplace
Walmart
and find a cheap treadmill or at Walmart. But I don't get it. Don't get it.
I'm very anti-treadmill personally.
Me too, yeah.
As someone who
I'm anti-exercise in general.
Yes. No, so listen, Mike, we got this DAV 5K race on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
And last Saturday, Sunday, I did back-to-back 7-mile runs getting ready for it. And it was great. Like, I just basically, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go run for, almost an hour. And
do you not know how to calculate, do the formula for kilometers to miles? Is that why we're doing 7 miles on a 5K?
Michael,
you got to overtrain.
When you're competing
again,
to
never
win,
done this.
Okay, one has to go above and beyond.
Oh, I see.
And so, like, no problem at all. Like, I'll be running for, like, 50, 60 minutes, and I'm like, this is cool. This is fine. I get on a treadmill. 3 minutes in, I'm like, what do I do? I'm, like, moving the incline up and down every 30 seconds.
That's because you don't have a Peloton instructor screaming at you in the display.
I don't want anyone to scream at me. I work out, and there's no noise. That's, like, the nice thing, It's just, like, it's me just being there with my feet.
I see.
And when I get on a treadmill, it's like, nope, don't like this. Bored already. So take it for what it is. Let's talk a little bit about tariffs. Yesterday was oral arguments at the Supreme Court on the case to whether or not to throw out the tariffs imposed by the Trump administration using the 1977 International Emergency Economic Powers Act.
Yeah. And I know that
this is not all of the tariffs that the president has imposed.
Right.
But it's a broad swath of them. It's the ones for different countries. It's not the ones for specific industries. Those have used different approaches in order to manage those in some cases. But the question is, hey, does the executive branch have the authority to impose these tariffs based on, just saying it's an emergency is pretty much the question that's out there.
Right.
And again, during the show yesterday, like I said, look, we're not listening to the arguments. We're not watching them because we can't. We don't know what's going to happen. What I can tell you is that betting markets were following and watching this, or at least participants on betting markets. And during these arguments, the probability of the tariffs fell from like a 35-40% chance to a 25-28% chance. And so
the probability of the tariffs
being upheld.
Got it.
And so basically the sense that you get in reading articles about what happened yesterday is that many of the justices were asking questions with skeptical tones. And so obviously you get people, reading into, well, they're skeptical about this, and so we think it's going to be struck down. That still may be the case, but we don't know. Again, a 25% chance, 1 in 4. If I told you, hey, you wake up today and there's a 1 in 4 chance that you're going to get hit by a bus when you're going to work, you'd be like, I think I'll call in sick for the day.
How
does
a bet like that exist? Because there's not just a yes/no on these tariffs, right? They could hypothetically come out there and say, hey, you need to define the emergency and put a time limit on it. They could pause the tariffs until Congress has time to look at that. Like, there's not just a yes/no there. I'm curious about how these betting markets actually.
Here is the rule. I'm just going to read from the page. This is from Polymarket.
Yeah.
This market will resolve to yes if the Supreme Court of the United States issues a decision that reverses, vacates, or otherwise overturns the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit's August 29th decision in VOS Selections v. Trump, in which the Federal Circuit held that the tariffs imposed by executive orders blah, blah, blah exceeded the authority under the International Emergency Powers Act. Otherwise, this will resolve to no. If the Supreme Court dismisses the case as improvidently granted, denies cert, grants, vacates, remand without deciding the merits of the IEEPA authorization, it will resolve to no.
Okay.
For purposes of this market, if the government prevails if the Supreme Court rules on the merits that the tariffs are authorized, or otherwise reverses or vacates the Federal Circuit's holding that they are unauthorized, regardless of whether the court remands for further proceedings or scope of relief.
Got it.
The government does not prevail if the Supreme Court affirms the decision, even if the court modifies or vacates portions of the judgment relating only to remedy or injunctive relief.
How many people betting on this thing do you think actually read that?
6.
Yeah.
So,
okay, we've been seeing a healthy dose of skepticism from the Supreme Court judges. A lot of that is framed by the media that reports it, but I think both from left-leaning and right-leaning media, I've heard it reported that, there's a healthy dose of skepticism from the judges that the president has these powers. In terms of what it could mean, well, let's lay out the options, right? One option is that it's the status quo. The tariffs that are in place now remain in place, and we've been living with that for the last several months. In terms of alternatives there, There's a lot of them. They could be forced to reimburse tariffs. They could be forced to reimburse tariffs, but only to specific industries or companies. They could just rule that this is not viable going forward and they don't have to reimburse. They could basically, could go in a number of different directions.
And even there, you get into the questions then of, okay, let's say that it is reversed. How many class action suits do you see from individuals who bought products at XYZ saying, okay, I want my piece of, the tariff revenue that was reversed.
Right.
Like, it could get quite complicated. But this is one of the things where you say, okay, does the federal government have to refund a couple $100 billion of tariff revenue that, by the way, they don't have because, surprise, federal government has spent it. It's not like it's just sitting there. So it's one where you say, okay, does the federal government have to issue additional debt? And in order to do so, what does that do? Because the projections were that, over the next 10 years, this would bring in like $3 trillion in revenue. If that's not coming in, deficits become larger. Do the bond vigilantes show up again being like, hey, pay us more? So
there's a lot of downstream impact. Yesterday, equity markets were up on, maybe that was part of the news. Maybe it was just a reversal of Tuesday's sell-off as well. But, I think the only thing I'm comfortable saying right now is that many are looking at this and thinking that the justices are leaning in the throw it out direction.
Yeah, I'd say that's where the vast majority of opinion is now. In terms of the timeline, the estimates that I've seen, late December to early January. So we're probably 2 to 3 months away from a ruling on this. It's kind of call it 2 months away from a ruling on this. Again, I don't personally have any idea what's going to happen. I know so little about law that I just don't have an informed decision here or an informed take on this, and I think that's fine. Like we don't all have to pretend to be constitutional law scholars for the day. Sometimes it's okay to just be like, hey, there are other people that spend their lives researching this, and
defer
I don't
to
know.
them.
Yeah. Let's take a quick break here, and when we return, let's see. Do we want to talk about automakers looking for chips? We already covered that a little bit earlier this week. I don't know that I have much new stuff there.
Let's talk about builders, home builders.
Let's talk about home builders. I think there's a little bit of meat on that bone, and we'll discuss when we come back.
Breaking business news as it happens, only here on the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
Hi, this is Chuck Zodda from the Armstrong Advisory Group. Your home is about more than where you live. It's a big part of your financial life, and as you head into retirement, certain questions may come up. Does the space feel too large or too expensive to maintain? Does it still fit your needs, but the taxes, insurance, and upkeep are starting to add up? Our new guide, Owning Real Estate in Retirement, offers insight into how to decide what's right for you. Should you stay put, downsize, or relocate to an area with lower costs? We cover those issues, as well as how factors like property taxes, insurance premiums, and local living expenses can impact your retirement budget and why it's important to match your housing decisions to your long-term financial plan. Call us right now at 800-393-4001. That's 800-393-4001 or request the guide at armstrongadvisory.com.
The proceeding was paid for by Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. Nothing in the ad or in any Armstrong guide is specific financial, legal, or tax advice. Consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong may contact you to offer investment advisory services. The U.S. Virgin Islands isn't just a postcard. It's alive with rhythm, culture, and celebration. This December through early January, St. Croix lights up with the Crucian Christmas Festival, a heritage carnival tradition dating back to the 1800s. There are incredible parades through Frederiksted as the festival village buzzes with live music, reggae, soca, and local island beats, as well as streets filled with the scent of authentic Caribbean flavors. Beyond the festival, there's St. Thomas, fresh with cruise hub energy, duty-free shopping, and panoramic views at Magens Bay. St. John is quiet, wild, and pure, where every trail and beach is its own adventure. Explore one island or all three. Each offers something unique, all with warm hospitality and that easy island vibe. Travel from New England could not be easier. There's no passport needed and no money to exchange. This holiday season, plan your escape and fall naturally in rhythm with the heartbeat of the islands. Visit usvi.com and book your trip today. That's visit usvi.com. Estate planning isn't just about taxes. It's about peace of mind. At Cushing & Dolan, we believe your plan should protect your family, not complicate your life. A joint revocable trust can help you do both. It lets you avoid probate, which means no court delays, no public filings, and no stress for your loved ones. Your estate stays private, and your family stays in control. Our new guide, The Simplicity of Joint Revocable Trusts, also explains how a trust can protect your children's inheritance from creditors, divorce, or bad financial decisions down the road. This guide makes it easy to understand why a joint trust may be the smart move for your family's future. Call 866-848-5699 right now and ask for your free copy of The Simplicity of Joint Revocable Trusts. That's 866-848-5699. Or request it online from our website, LegalExchangeShow.com. The proceeding was paid for and the views expressed are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Cushing & Dolan and or Armstrong Advisory may contact you offering legal or investment services. Cushing & Dolan and Armstrong Advisory do not endorse each other and are not affiliated.
Let's talk LDL. AKA bad cholesterol. The higher your LDL cholesterol, the higher your risk of a heart attack or stroke. Your health matters. Know your number. Talk to your doctor and get your cholesterol checked. And learn how to help lower your LDL bad cholesterol. Because your health is in your hands. Find out more at heart.org/LDL.
It happens all over Massachusetts.
Can you tie my shoes?
In every home and every community.
Be careful on your bike.
Learning can happen anytime, anywhere.
We'll see you at practice this weekend.
And no matter how learning takes place in your family's life, DESE is there as your partner. The Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. Never stop learning. Find out more at mass.gov/back-to-school.
Sponsored by the Massachusetts Department for Elementary and Secondary Education.
The Financial Exchange streams live on YouTube. Like our page and stay up to date on breaking business news all morning long. This is the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
Piece in the Wall Street Journal. Builders are offering mortgage rate discounts. Home buyers aren't biting. What are we seeing?
Pretty low mortgage rates being offered by these builders. So they're buying up discounts for their customers. Some of them, the largest ones out there, have their own mortgage originations, and so they're able to do this. But D.R. Horton, for instance, is offering mortgages as low as 3.99% through their financing arms. Others, such as Lennar, offering buyers incentives worth $64,000 on the average home sales. What I'm hearing reported also is that even with these discounts, it's not quite attracting, for years we've been talking about institutional buyers of single-family homes, right? And you have not seen the corporate buyers come out yet. You have not clearly seen the individual buyers come out yet. But wow, a 3.99% mortgage in this market is pretty darn attractive.
I'd say beyond pretty darn attractive.
Yeah.
And so this gets at the question of why is this the case? Right, like it's the reasonable question to ask is, hey, if you're getting mortgage rates that are being offered that low, why are people not snapping them up? And the place I come back to is, look, the place that a lot of these developers are offering this stuff is in place where home prices are falling, and home prices falling is usually a signal to most people that it's not a great time to start buying real estate yet, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think it's all that complicated. Supply is outstripping demand, and there's a lot of buyer skepticism about this market right now in those areas where new homes have actually been built over the last few years. So it's not an amazingly complicated question, but it's definitely a bad sign when home builders have, sitting on a lot of inventory. Wasn't it the largest amount of inventory since?
It's the highest inventory level since June of 2009, which is not really the comp you want.
No.
Generally, economically, you don't want to hear last time since 2009.
Yeah. Any comparison to that point of time when it comes to business or economics is not a great comparison point.
The U.S. Virgin Islands isn't just a postcard, it's alive with rhythm, culture, and celebration. This December through early January, St. Croix lights up the Crucian Christmas Festival, a heritage carnival tradition dating back to the 1800s. There are incredible parades through Frederiksted as the festival village buzzes with live music, reggae, soca, and local island beats, as well as streets filled with the scent of authentic Caribbean flavors. Beyond the festival, there's St. Thomas, fresh with cruise hub energy, duty-free shopping, and panoramic views at Magens Bay. St. John is quiet, wild, and pure, where every trail and beach is its own adventure. Explore one island or all three. Each offers something unique, all with warm hospitality and that easy island vibe. Travel from New England could not be easier. There's no passport needed and no money to exchange. This holiday season, plan your escape and fall naturally in rhythm with the heartbeat of the islands. Visit usvi.com and book your trip today. That's visit usvi.com.
Piece in the Wall Street Journal, this famous method of valuing stocks is pointing towards some rough years ahead. The valuation method that they're talking about is what's known as the CAPE, the cyclically adjusted PE ratio. This was popularized by Robert Shiller. It's often known also as the Shiller PE ratio. And basically what it does, it looks at 10 years of earnings and adjusts them for inflation. So you get a whole business cycle of earnings adjusted for inflation, like how much is actually companies growing their earnings, how much is inflation, and then says, okay, what's the PE ratio based on that?
Right.
And pretty much what you're seeing right now is that the Shiller PE is at the, again, like you don't want to compare things to 2009. You don't really like, 1999, 2000 as a comp for valuations, but we're basically at the highest level of valuation that we've seen since September of 2000.
Yeah, and we've talked about this a few times because we've been hitting these milestones throughout this year, right? One of them was the price to revenue ratio on the S&P 500. Hadn't seen that since the late 90s. Now we've got the CAPE price to earnings ratio. What are we comfortable saying about this then? Right? Like, yeah, you're not in great company when stocks hit the price point that you've only once seen in U.S. history, which was during the lead up to the dot-com bubble. Not great company. But what are we actually comfortable saying about this? Because I don't think it's a story of timing.
No, it's a horrible timing mechanism. The first time that we hit this level was December of 1998. The party continued for 2 more years.
Right.
And valuations went even higher. Yeah. So this is not something, and valuations, I say this quite often, valuations are not useful in any way, shape, or form as a timing signal as to, like, should I do this or should I do that? They can give you some rough guidance, and even there, this is not physics. Like, this is not this happens and then this happens. It's here's what we've observed previously, but unlike physics where those relationships are stable, relationships in markets can evolve over time based on different conditions and different sets of circumstances. So I think you can incorporate this into any, mosaic and any matrix that you're using to figure out, hey, how should I personally be investing? But the idea that this should be used as like, oh no, like we've reached this level, now you have to sell. Well, that's as useless as saying, well, things have gotten really cheap, now I need to buy. Well, sometimes they're cheap for a reason.
Yeah.
See emerging markets for the last 15 years. So I think, yes, this is signaling some potential issues, but I keep coming back to it's a horrible timing mechanism, and relationships can change over time. They're not always stable in markets. Quick break, hour 2, coming up in a little bit.
Here at the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, we are committed to all students not only attending, but succeeding at school. Your presence is powerful. Share why you attend at doe.mass.edu.
Sponsored by the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education.
Sometimes we know what's next. Other times, it's impossible to know. Life can change in an instant. Don't be caught standing by the next time someone's heart stops. Knowing CPR gives you the ability to act and takes you from bystander to lifesaver. CPR is a life-saving skill. Join the nation of lifesavers today by learning CPR at heart.org/nation. National support for CPR education provided by Elevance Health Foundation.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you from Senior Care USA. The average funeral now costs over $10,000. That leaves your loved ones the burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay your family up to $30,000 to help pay for your funeral and other expenses. There are no medical exams. Your rates will never increase, and your plan cannot be canceled, regardless of your medical conditions, as long as you make your premium payments. Get up to $30,000 in final expense insurance. Call now for free information. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 800-378-3818. 800-378-3818. 800-378-3818. That's 800-378-3818.
Did you outgrow your timeshare and now you want out? But you can't. You can't sell it, and you can't get out of the contract. Imagine trying to get out of your mortgage. That's what a timeshare is. You can't just call up the bank and say, I don't want to pay it anymore. But we may be able to help you do just that. Listen, a timeshare maybe for you once was a great thing, but now you don't use it much. And they are not easy to get rid of. Plus, you do have to pay for it every month. Qualified timeshare owners can get out of their contract legally and permanently without ruining your credit or even filing bankruptcy. And imagine, no more mortgage payment or fees. Call the Timeshare Exit Hotline qualification line now. It's free to learn more.
800-455-7967. 800-455-7967. 800-455-7967. That's 800-455-7967. Paid for by Timeshare Defense.
This is the Money Matters Radio Network, WBNW 1120 AM and W275 CM FM, Concord, Boston. The Money Matters Radio Network.
Estate planning doesn't have to be complicated. Cushing & Dolan's new guide, The Simplicity of Joint Revocable Trusts, shows couples how to stay in control, avoid probate, and help protect what they've built for their family. Call 866-848-5699 right now and ask for your free copy today. That's 866-848-5699. Or request it online from our website, legalexchangeshow.com. The proceeding was paid for and the views expressed are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Cushing & Dolan and or Armstrong Advisory may contact you offering legal or investment services. Cushing & Dolan and Armstrong Advisory do not endorse each other and are not affiliated.
This is Michael Valila, Adjutant of the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts. The DAV of Massachusetts has helped me and countless others adjust to civilian life through a variety of incredible programs. Through our local Veterans Assistance Program, we provide necessary services to veterans and their communities, such as food shopping, landscaping, and companionship, but we need your support. You can help by making a donation today. Please visit dav5k.boston. That's dav5k.boston.
Mark Vonner is the CEO of Veterans Development Corporation. His dedication to serving our veterans has made an incredible impact on his family and employees. And he is so proud to be the presenting sponsor of the DAV 5K Boston.
This is Brittany Vonner. I'm a registered nurse who is now working as an assistant project manager at Veterans Development Corporation. Working with my father, Mark, has been an incredibly rewarding experience. Our company is dedicated to serving VA hospitals and veteran communities. We don't just build facilities, we build environments that support healing, resilience, and family. We are so proud to see our work directly impact the lives of veterans and the professionals who care for them. This rich history is why we care so much about supporting great organizations such as the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts and the work they do to care for our veterans.
Join Veterans Development Corporation in thanking our great American heroes. Please visit dav5k.boston to show your support today.
The U.S. Virgin Islands isn't just a postcard. It's alive with rhythm, culture, and celebration. This December through early January, St. Croix lights up with the Crucian Christmas Festival, a heritage carnival tradition dating back to the 1800s. There are incredible parades through Frederiksted as the festival village buzzes with live music, reggae, soca, and local island beats, as well as streets filled with the scent of authentic Caribbean flavors. Beyond the festival, there's St. Thomas, fresh with cruise hub energy, duty-free shopping, and panoramic views at Maggins Bay. St. John is quiet, wild, and pure, where every trail and beach is its own adventure. Explore one island or all three. Each offers something unique, all with warm hospitality and that easy island vibe. Travel from New England could not be easier. There's no passport needed and no money to exchange. This holiday season, plan your escape and fall naturally in rhythm with the heartbeat of the islands. Visit usvi.com and book your trip today. That's visit usvi.com.
Hi, this is Chuck and Mike from the Armstrong Advisory Group, and our guide this month is titled Owning Real Estate in Retirement. Mike, for someone who wants to own multiple properties in retirement, maybe a warm weather and a summer property, what do you end up doing as far as, trying to negotiate and navigate that decision?
Well, it's a lot of questions to answer. How much time are we going to spend in one place versus another? Where am I going to be a resident? If I am, leaving between two different homes, where do I feel comfortable being a resident? I get this question all the time. How much will I get in tax savings, for instance, by moving to a no income tax state? And what ends up happening, though, sometimes is they make that decision based on income tax and don't realize where a lot of the cost savings comes, which is estate taxes. And so if I'm going to own multiple properties, where do I intend on actually making my residency? And will I be able to commit to that for the long term is an important one.
Another piece there, look, at a certain point in everyone's life, that travel and moving between two places and even maintaining two places becomes challenging. When do you typically see those kinds of conversations being navigated?
For most folks, I see it in the 70s and early 80s. That's when this stuff starts to change for a lot of people, but ultimately it's customized to each individual, and you might be able to afford one scenario if you're willing to rent out your property for a period of time. Sure. It really comes down to customizing for your situation.
Our guide this month is titled Owning Real Estate in Retirement, and you can request it by calling 800-393-4001 or going to armstrongadvisory.com. That guide again is titled Owning Real Estate in Retirement, and you can request it by calling 800-393-4001.
The proceeding was paid for by Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. Nothing in the ad or in any Armstrong guide is specific financial, legal, or tax advice. Consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong may contact you to offer investment advisory services. The Financial Exchange is produced by Money Matters Radio and is hosted by employees of the Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. All opinions expressed are solely those of the hosts, do not reflect the opinions of Armstrong Advisory or anyone else. Investments can lose money. This program does not offer any specific financial or investment advice. Please consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong Advisory and the advertisers heard on this program do not endorse each other or their services. Armstrong and Money Matters Radio do not compensate each other for referrals and are not affiliated. This is the Financial Exchange with Chuck Zodda and Mike Armstrong. Your exclusive look at business and financial news affecting your day, your city, your world. Stay informed and up to date about economic and market trends, plus breaking business news every day. The Financial Exchange is a proud partner of the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts. Help us support our great American heroes by visiting dav5k.boston and making a donation today. This is the Financial Exchange with Chuck Zodda and Mike Armstrong.
Chuck, Mike, and Tucker with you here, and as we kick things off, we've got stocks selling off just a little bit, nothing huge, but S&P is down 58 points, a little less than 1%. The Dow is off 346 points, about 0.75%, and the NASDAQ Composite down 329 points, about 1.5%. So you do have some tech stocks that are kind of feeling it today, and this comes on the back of, quite honestly, like some comments and things in the last week or so that has me wondering, if we look back on this week as the point where the tide turned, if things start to go against the, what has been the prevailing AI story, the prevailing AI narrative. Obviously, look, we could be sitting here a year from now and say, yeah, this, isn't the case, and these stocks have, continued to move to all-time highs, but there's some stuff this week that just has me feeling like maybe this is the moment where it starts to turn. You had Satya Nadella come out over the weekend, or maybe it was late last week, and say, hey, the critical bottleneck isn't compute anymore, getting, chips, it's getting enough electricity. Okay, that's not a great sign for, the semiconductor manufacturers. Jensen Huang says yesterday to the Financial Times, China is going to win the AI race. He then tried to walk it back and, say the U.S. is running hand in hand. But remember, China is not buying Nvidia chips right now. At least they're not admitting to buying them if they're, somehow making their way into their ecosystem. And so the question that you ask is, hey, if Jensen Huang says China's going to win the AI race, if they're going to win it without his chips, then why would you need his chips here? Just the question that you would naturally follow up with. OpenAI yesterday, their CFO at a Wall Street Journal investment conference, said, hey, we'd really like to, find some more creative ways to finance this growth, including maybe looking at, a government backstop for loans to the AI sector. To which I say, there is absolutely no way I want to be involved in backstopping loans to AI companies with taxpayer dollars. Full stop. And the question obviously then becomes, wait, I thought everything was fine. Why do you need a government backstop on AI loans? I thought this sector was so robust. Shouldn't everyone be lining up to loan the money? Are you saying the loans are going to go bad? It makes you wonder about that. And then, you just look at some of the price action in some of these companies. Oracle is an example, who about 2 months ago came out and said, hey, we've got an extra, $300 billion in revenue commitments compared to what we previously had. Well, their stock has now retraced all of the gains since then. It went from 240 up to 345 that day, and now it's back down to 240. Meta had earnings last week where they, said our capex is going to be heavier, and they issued, $25 billion in bonds to help with that capex, and their stock has promptly fallen almost 20% since then. And so you just kind of look at the convergence here and say, hey, are we going to look back at this first week in November as a critical point in time for the AI story and for these AI stocks? And I think it's very possible that we do, because all of those stories are things that we haven't heard in the last 6 months, Michael.
No, they aren't. On the side of China and Nvidia, just to play that one out a little bit more, obviously Nvidia now the largest company in the world, largest company in the S&P 500, quite concentrated in there. And I do wonder, though, for China to win the AI race, which is just kind of a nonsense statement because it's something that is constantly moving and evolving. But if they do actually get to the point where they are successfully producing chips that are as good or better than NVIDIA's, and then are pushing out generative AI and whatever AI tools for the future that are as good or better than U.S. companies, I guess my question is, who's going to use them outside of China? And so can China win? I mean, if you are the German government, or if you are the French, if you are Airbus and you are looking to develop an in-house generative AI system, I would think that even with all the ties to China, you're going to be pretty suspicious about welcoming in to your ecosystem a generative AI system developed by a Chinese company.
I disagree.
Yeah, maybe not.
Because the Germans have basically said, hey, we like to make cars. That's what we do. Come in, Chinese electric vehicle manufacturers, and take our business.
Yeah.
It's...
So maybe the facts aren't in evidence. But that's been the thing that I've gone back on is, who's going to really allow these semiconductors into their market? I get that, the Middle East might, and other nations that the Belt and Roads Initiative has really gone deep into might. But maybe we are on an island here where they won't come into the U.S., but it doesn't really matter if they're able to flood every other market with it.
The other piece that I come back to is, isn't AI kind of going to be commoditized?
Go on.
Does anyone really look at, for the average person, which remember, the average person is the person who's going to use this stuff the most. Does the average person really care which model they use?
No, and in fact, when I attend conferences and they talk about artificial intelligence and the tools that they're developing, it's been pointed out that, hey, the crucial thing when you are using one of these tools for, a corporate setting is the ability to switch between systems in the back end for generating this stuff, because who knows which one's going to be better 5 years from now.
So, how do you make money on that? Commoditized products usually have really low margins. See grocery stores. See every other semiconductor. You know, like no one's sitting. Has anyone been sitting there for the last 20 years being like, you know what I want to do? I want to build a business getting into making memory chips. No, because the margins are horrible. The companies that do it are like, yeah, we'll do it because there's a business and it'll help us, get the capital that we need in order to do the other stuff that we really like to do.
If it was a great margin business, the CHIPS Act wouldn't have needed to exist.
More importantly, here's the thing that happens with any high-margin business. A bunch of people see it, a bunch of people get into it, and the margins go down. This is what happened with semiconductors. They originally were a high-margin business, and look what happened. Same thing with the personal computing revolution. Do you remember all of the PC makers back in the 90s? You had Dell, you had HP, you had Compaq, you had Gateway, you had... there were hundreds of them. They were just everywhere. And you're basically left with 3 of them now. And it's because the margins went down. They had to consolidate in order to, maintain their businesses. And all that competition drove the profits out of those businesses. It's just what happened. And that's fine. That's how you eventually... It's part of the way that you get things to be cheaper is when profit margins go away, that helps to make things cheaper through economies of scale. And that's how these things get broadly distributed out to households. But if you're talking about this in the question of AI, do we think that AI is going to have the margins that, software traditionally has? Well, no. If it's cloud-based and most people don't want to pay for it, and you're talking about okay, we're going to use ad revenue or, revenue from transaction, the margins aren't going to be that fat if people are willing to hop between different areas. If they have no allegiance and they're just looking based on pricing, ask Amazon how well that works out as a model for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can grow, but their core business is not why Amazon stock is where it is. It's because of AWS and all the other stuff that is sticky. Talk to Walmart. Yeah, they built a great business, but it's because they're freaking huge and they have those economies of scale. Ultimately, it still is a business that runs in mid-single-digit margins. You're not going to have 50% profit margins on AI if that's the case.
I'll make the statement that I have been highly skeptical of the frothiness of this market and the move of the AI trade generally. I'm also fairly skeptical that right now happens to be the turning point of that overall narrative. But I take your point. There are some new comments that are being made from leadership in the AI space that I agree, find surprising today.
If there is a concept of, momentum in markets and things like that, then there's a pretty good chance that what I said is not right. It's okay. These are people that are, smarter than me they're building all this stuff, and I get how the financial incentives are aligned because look, if you are any of these companies building these things, I totally get why you would spend $250 billion in CapEx.
Sure.
Zuck's basically laid it out. He's like, yeah, the upside's too great, and if it doesn't work, we'll figure it out. And he's not wrong about that. I don't think anyone looks at Meta's business or Google's business or Microsoft and says, hey, if this fails, you're going to go under. No, that's not the case. But it is one where you look at it and say, hey, if this fails, yeah, all that upside that's being priced in isn't there, but that's just a question of the stock price, not does the company still exist. OpenAI, on the other hand, and the reason I think they're trying to sign all these partnerships is right now, if it doesn't work out for them, then they do cease to exist.
Yeah.
They don't have anything else to fall back on. They're not OpenExcel. They're OpenAI. Quick break here. When we return, we've got trivia, and then we'll talk about Jenga when we come back.
Find daily interviews and full shows of the Financial Exchange on our YouTube page. Subscribe to our page and get caught up on anything and everything you might have missed. This is the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
Mark Vonner is the CEO of Veterans Development Corporation. Mark faithfully served his country from 1981 to 1984, and we're thrilled to have him as a partner and presenting sponsor of the DAV 5K Boston. Mark comes from a proud military family that includes his father Victor and brother Timmy. Mark talks often about how serving his country was one of the greatest achievements of his life, and it's one of the main reasons he chooses to give back to this special community. Mark is honored to continue the legacy that his father started when he built Veterans Development Corporation. Working to help many disabled veterans and their families has become a lifelong goal for Mark, and it's why he's taken the time to fully support the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts. You can join Mark and help our great American heroes today by making a donation to support the DAV Department of Massachusetts. Please visit DAV5K.Boston. That's DAV5K.Boston.
The U.S. Virgin Islands isn't just a postcard. It's alive with rhythm, culture, and celebration. This December through early January, St. Croix lights up with the Crucian Christmas Festival, a heritage carnival tradition dating back to the 1800s. There are incredible parades through Frederiksted as the festival village buzzes with live music, reggae, soca, and local island beats, as well as streets filled with the scent of authentic Caribbean flavors. Beyond the festival, there's St. Thomas, fresh with cruise hub energy, duty-free shopping, and panoramic views at Magens Bay. St. John is quiet, wild, and pure, where every trail and beach is its own adventure. Explore one island or all three. Each offers something unique, all with warm hospitality and that easy island vibe. Travel from New England could not be easier. There's no passport needed and no money to exchange. This holiday season, plan your escape and fall naturally in rhythm with the heartbeat of the islands. Visit usvi.com and book your trip today. That's visit usvi.com. Estate planning isn't just about taxes. It's about peace of mind. At Cushing & Dolan, we believe your plan should protect your family, not complicate your life. A joint revocable trust can help you do both. It lets you avoid probate, which means no court delays, no public filings, and no stress for your loved ones. Your estate stays private, and your family stays in control. Our new guide, The Simplicity of Joint Revocable Trusts, also explains how a trust can protect your children's inheritance from creditors, divorce, or bad financial decisions down the road. This guide makes it easy to understand why a joint trust may be the smart move for your family's future. Call 866-848-5699 right now and ask for your free copy of The Simplicity of Joint Revocable Trusts. That's 866-848-5699. Or request it online from our website, legalexchangeshow.com. The proceeding was paid for and the views expressed are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Cushing & Dolan and or Armstrong Advisory may contact you offering legal or investment services. Cushing & Dolan and Armstrong Advisory do not endorse each other and are not affiliated.
Hey, listen, are you a 50-year-old person looking for term life insurance? Then you need to talk to Bob. Bob specializes in helping people find $1 million or more of term life insurance for a couple of $100 a month. Look, you need to know there's a price war in the term life insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call Bob, and he'll shop and see how much money he can save you. Look, this could be the last term life insurance policy you ever have. Your rates are guaranteed for the next 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rates for the next 20 years. And if you're a smoker or your health is not perfect, Bob has great rates for you too. So for $1 million of term life insurance coverage for a couple of $100 a month, call Bob right now. 800-965-7987. 800-965-7987. 800-965-7987. That's 800-965-7987. Paid for by Term Direct.
The Financial Exchange is now available every day from 11 to noon on SiriusXM's Business Radio Channel 132. Stay informed about the latest from Wall Street, fiscal policy, and breaking business news every day. The Financial Exchange is live on SiriusXM's Business Radio Channel 132. This is the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
All right, time for trivia here on the Financial Exchange. And on this day in 2001, Fox aired the premiere episode of 24. Kiefer Sutherland received 6 major awards for his performance on 24, including an Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series back in 2006. So our trivia question today is simply, what was Kiefer Sutherland's character's name on 24? Once again, what was Kiefer Sutherland's character's name on 24? Be the 6th person today to text us at 617-362-1385 with the correct answer, and you win a Financial Exchange Show t-shirt. Once again, the 6th correct response to text us to the number 617-362-1385 will win that t-shirt. See complete contest rules at financialexchangeshow.com. And if you've missed any of our shows this week, you can find them on our YouTube page. We stream the show live every day, but also archive every hour in all of our most newsworthy interviews. Go to YouTube, search for The Financial Exchange, and hit that subscribe button.
Chuck, just a bit of breaking news on a story that we've given a lot of coverage over the last few months.
Sure.
Financial Times reporting that UBS is going to liquidate the funds with substantial First Brands exposure. If you recall, there was. Do you remember the name of the UBS fund group that had a lot of exposure?
I don't know the UBS one. The one at Jefferies was Point Bonita.
Yeah. So in any case, just a bit of a additional story on that front where one of the major holders here and had a fair bit of concentration in this First Brands, probably forced now to go and liquidate that fund as a result.
The Swiss banks, for better or for worse, tend to be the canary in the coal mine on this stuff. You know, it used to be Credit Suisse before they were forced to be bought, before they were forced to be acquired by UBS. So you don't get quite as pure of a signal, because it used to be like you'd see the name Credit Suisse in a headline, you'd just be like,
oh no,
what is it now? Tell me, what'd you do? And, you know, now it's watered down a little bit, but the legend lives on with UBS. Let's see. Piece from Bloomberg here. Jenga tower, U.S. economy teeters as middle class pulls back spending. This is, I got to tell you, for the last week and a half, this is all that my friends want to talk about, because I feel like it's making its way into mainstream discourse now, this idea of this K-shaped economy. I feel like it's everywhere that you're seeing this chatter now. And it's very simple. The households at the high end of the income spectrum are spending like crazy still. And, you know, we see this in earnings reports. We see this with, you know, basically all the economic data that's out there. The households that are in the bottom 50 to 70% of income are really, really struggling. And it's a situation where McDonald's said lower income households are continuing to pull back at almost a double-digit pace. You've got Delta saying main cabin bookings are down 6%. Marriott saying that their cheaper selection of hotels is down low single digits year over year. So like you're seeing this across the board, and so the question that's being asked is how long can this continue? And because here's the big thing is broadly in the aggregate, consumer spending remains fine. It's running 4 to 6% growth year over year. Inflation's at 3%, so it's like 1 to 3% real growth. It's just that growth is basically all happening with the top 10 to 20% of spenders.
Yeah, I was going to say the entire economy is balancing on that one Jenga brick of the high-income consumer. You can measure this in other ways, too. We've talked about the earnings. FICO is reporting now that increasingly consumers are scoring either in the very highest or the very lowest score ranges. Instead of a normal distribution, you're basically seeing the K-shaped economy in the actual numbers of credit scores as well.
So, the question is how long can this continue? And the answer is, look, we're in kind of an unprecedented situation from a number of different respects. The first is, hey, we've talked about the U.S. population getting older for a while. Older populations don't rely on earned income. They rely on Social Security, pensions, and portfolio income. And so even if like the economy has more job losses, is the U.S. economy more resilient to those because a higher percentage of our spending is coming from people that are not in the workforce because they're retired? Maybe that can continue. Also, the level of wealth disparity has gotten pretty darn big. And so you look at that and you say, okay, even if you see more job losses in that top 10%, if Jeff Bezos needs a new yacht, that makes him, that's a big purchase. Like how much activity does that create? It's not really a good way to build an economy for a number of ways. And this is before you even get into, the societal impacts and things like that, where you're like, gee, generally having large concentrations of wealth in the hands of a small number of people while everyone else is trying to figure out how to pay for groceries is kind of a bad thing. Like, it's before you even get to those impacts.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a shelf life to what's going on here, but the counter on this is, look, you're still not really seeing it showing up in any major shift in the labor market. The labor market continues to weaken, but there hasn't been, the falling off a cliff that you normally see in recessions. Housing's been a dumpster fire for the last couple of years, and there's just no change there. It's just still bad. The things that are keeping this economy afloat right now are high-income spenders and artificial intelligence. And the problem is, if one of those goes, I don't know what picks up the baton.
It's not housing.
It's not housing. It's not the labor market right away. It's like...
Could be hundreds of billions of dollars of tariffs getting refunded, I guess.
I don't know if that's really something to root for.
No. Yeah, look, when you have a bifurcation in society like we have now, there are all sorts of unpredictable results. I mean, we just saw a whole bunch of elections over the course of the last few nights, and a big sweep for Democrats on that front. I mean, there's all sorts of potential implications here. And more and more we are talking about that bifurcation of consumer spending. And that is very purely a symptom of where we are right now in terms of income and wealth differences between Americans.
Stocks continue to struggle. The S&P now down about 70 points, a little over 1%. NASDAQ Composite down 395 points, closing in on 1 3/4% in negative territory. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we got the trivia answer. We got Wall Street Watch after this.
Bringing the latest financial news straight to your radio every day. It's the Financial Exchange on the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
Hi, this is Chuck Zodda from the Armstrong Advisory Group. Your home is more than just a place to live. It's part of your story. In retirement, real estate can play a powerful role in how you manage your wealth and plan for the next generation. Passing property to family members isn't always easy. One child might want to keep the home while another prefers to sell it. Maintenance costs, taxes, and distance to healthcare services are all important factors that need to be considered, which is why having a clear plan can help prevent family stress while keeping your wishes front and center. Our new guide, Owning Real Estate in Retirement, is designed to help you fit your property into a long-term strategy that supports your life today and preserves what matters most for your future. Get your free copy right now by calling 800-393-4001. That's 800-393-4001, or request the guide at armstrongadvisory.com.
The proceeding was paid for by Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. Nothing in the ad or in any Armstrong guide is specific financial, legal, or tax advice. Consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong may contact you to offer investment advisory services.
It happens all over Massachusetts.
Can you tie my shoes?
In every home and every community.
Be careful on your bike.
Learning can happen anytime, anywhere.
We'll see you at practice this weekend.
And no matter how learning takes place in your family's life, DESE is there as your partner. The Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. Never stop learning. Find out more at mass.gov/back-to-school.
Sponsored by the Massachusetts Department for Elementary and Secondary Education.
As a busy mom to 4 kids, my to-do list is full.
Trying to fit in exercise, eating right, and prioritizing self-care can feel next to impossible.
While we can't add more hours to the day, we do have a great resource to help.
Go Red for Women has easy tips, tools, and information to help you and your family live a healthier life.
So to all the moms, the aunts, grandmothers, and amazing women out there doing it all,
visit goredforwomen.org/momlife today.
You take care of them, Go Red for Women will take care of you.
The U.S. Virgin Islands isn't just a postcard. It's alive with rhythm, culture, and celebration. This December through early January, St. Croix lights up with the Crucian Christmas Festival, a heritage carnival tradition dating back to the 1800s. There are incredible parades through Frederiksted as the festival village buzzes with live music, reggae, soca, and local island beats, as well as streets filled with the scent of authentic Caribbean flavors. Beyond the festival, there's St. Thomas, fresh with cruise hub energy, duty-free shopping, and panoramic views at Maggins Bay. St. John is quiet, wild, and pure, where every trail and beach is its own adventure. Explore one island or all 3. Each offers something unique, all with warm hospitality and that easy island vibe. Travel from New England could not be easier. There's no passport needed and no money to exchange. This holiday season, plan your escape and fall naturally in rhythm with the heartbeat of the islands. Visit usvi.com and book your trip today. That's visit usvi.com.
This is Tucker Silva of the Financial Exchange Show, and I'm joined today by estate planning attorney Todd Lutzke from the law firm of Cushing & Dolan with your Financial Exchange quick tip of the day. And today we're talking about joint revocable trusts. Todd, for couples who you already have wills in place, why might it make sense to look at a joint revocable trust, and what can it do that a simple will can't?
Yeah, this is important because a lot of people believe that wills are an estate plan, when really a will is a won't. I've said it many times. It won't avoid probate. It won't reduce estate taxes. It won't protect assets from the nursing home. You're going to need some kind of trust to do that. So that's the most important reason why a will is not enough. Then you need to think about, well, what kind of trust are you doing? Well, in this case, we're talking about joint trusts. And boy, folks, these are so underutilized, but they are really powerful for moderate estates. And today, moderate estates are, below 15 million with the exemption as high as it is. So you can actually make it easier for folks. Put all the assets into this trust. You can jointly put your brokerage accounts and real estate in the trust. It's simple. You don't have to split assets between two trusts. Ease of operation, and it's going to reduce estate taxes, avoid probate, and provide a bloodline plan for your family, even to the extent where if you want to protect it from future creditors and divorces of the kids, you can do that in the trust as well. And the will won't do any of that.
Cushing & Dolan have been helping families like yours for more than 40 years now. Learn how you can avoid probate, eliminate estate taxes, protect your kids' inheritance, and keep your money in your family. Request this brand new guide from Cushing & Dolan called The Simplicity of Joint Revocable Trusts. Call 866-848-5699. That's 866-848-5699, or you can request it from their website, legalexchangeshow.com.
The proceeding was paid for, and the views expressed are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Cushing & Dolan and or Armstrong Advisory may contact you offering legal or investment services. Cushing and Armstrong do not endorse each other and are not affiliated.
Time now for Wall Street Watch. A complete look at what's moving markets so far today, right here on the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
Well, we're seeing an acceleration of today's sell-off as traders continue to keep a close eye on AI stocks, which have seen some volatility this week over high valuation concerns. Wall Street's also awaiting developments from the Supreme Court's hearing on tariffs. Right now, the Dow is now down just over 0.9% or 434 points. S&P 500 down about 1% or 66 points lower. NASDAQ selling off 1.6% or 384 points. Russell 2000 down by just over 1.5%. 10-year Treasury yield down 7 basis points at 4.085%. And crude oil down about 0.5% lower, trading at $59.28 a barrel. Qualcomm down 4% after the semiconductor maker reported stronger than projected earnings. However, the company took a $5.7 billion non-cash charge linked to the One Big Beautiful Bill. Sticking with the chip sector, where Marvell Technology shares are jumping 1% after Bloomberg reported that Japan's SoftBank has explored a potential takeover of the chipmaker. Meanwhile, CarMax down by 18% after the used car retailer announced a weak preliminary outlook for its current fiscal quarter, and also said CEO Bill Nash would be unexpectedly stepping down. Elsewhere, DoorDash posted mixed third quarter results. The food delivery company also said it expects to spend several $100 million on new initiatives in development in 2026. DoorDash down by 15%. AppLovin up by 3% after the ad platform posted stronger than expected quarterly results and issued an optimistic outlook for the fourth quarter. And shares in Snap jumping by 10% after it posted strong third quarter results. Snap also announced a $400 million deal with Perplexity AI. The social media company said it expects to start seeing revenue from that deal in 2026. I'm Tucker Silva, and that is Wall Street Watch. And in the previous segment, we asked you the trivia question. What was Kiefer Sutherland's character's name on the show 24? That would be Jack Bauer. Jason from Kingston, New Hampshire is our winner today, taking home a Financial Exchange Show t-shirt. And we play trivia every day here on the Financial Exchange. See complete contest rules at financialexchangeshow.com.
Couple things. I've actually been rewatching 24 with my wife over the last couple months.
Really? Hold up?
Yeah.
Never saw it.
It holds up okay. There's definitely parts that, given the landscape of TV and what we've gotten since then, that you kind of watch and you're like, okay, this is kind of... And look, you have to suspend disbelief that, Jack's always going to go into everything, with, no body armor, no helmet, no nothing, and just comes out unscathed. But even before getting into that, it's just okay, this has been done better by other things since. So it holds up okay. The peaks are still really high, but a lot of it's just kind of okay, this is fine. It's fine. The other thing that I do think is quite funny. Either you guys, Chuck, you still a baseball fan? Kind of.
Sure. Yeah.
There was a Major League Baseball draft prospect this year with the name Jack Bauer, which means you think about it, and it's basically his parents were watching 24 in the mid 2000s.
100%.
Had the last name Bauer, and we're gonna name him Jack. Because it was right in line with it.
It's a great name.
Sometimes you're how could this be a thing? But it's kind of like how there are a bunch of Shaqs that were born after Shaquille O'Neal went to the NBA.
Ton of Elsas running around right now.
Well, the ones that you feel bad for are all of the Daenarises.
Yeah.
From 2017, 2018.
Yeah, that's right.
Because by 2019, 2020, you couldn't have a Daenerys.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do? Let's see. So we talked about K-shaped economy. Let's talk about this, because I've been seeing this making the rounds today. U.S. companies announced the most job cuts for any October in more than 2 decades, according to data from outplacement firm Challenger Gray and Christmas. So it's not to say that Challenger Gray and Christmas is wrong, but this report typically has absolutely no signal value in terms of what it means for the next month, quarter, or year. And so, as such, I don't think this is a valuable signal in any way, shape, or form. They can be useful in hindsight, but hindsight is not something that you can make investment decisions based on. So I know that this has been getting a lot of chatter today since it was released, but I'm just not sure there's much meat on this bone. I'm not saying that this is good. No, this is still a bad number. You don't want to see this. But it's not indicative of where the U.S. economy may or may not be heading.
Right. I mean, if you think about it for a moment, it's not as though layoffs only occur in October. So first things first, what use is there in comparing single-month layoff announcements across multiple years? I don't find much value in that. If you have data on the full year, and they do, and it is still elevated, I get that, but there's just better data points for us to look at. Right?
Yep.
How many people are actually filing for unemployment? Great number to look at to try and confirm, are we seeing an elevated firing market right now? Are we seeing elevated problems at this moment? We don't get that data compiled right now because of the government shutdown, but I'm just not finding this to be terribly useful information. All of that having been said, the economy and the markets have been on a direct upswing really since the return out of COVID recession back in 2020, with very few blips on the radar, right? I mean, realistically, you had a inflation-fueled downturn back in 2022, a tariff-fueled downturn back in April of this year, but other than that, you haven't had much. And quite frankly, if I look beyond the COVID recession, which if you blinked, you missed it, we have not had any sort of prolonged economic and market downturn since the Great Recession. Am I stretching the truth by saying something like that, Chuck, in any meaningful way? I mean, prolonged...
Mike, there hasn't been a recession since then.
Right. I mean, 2020, again, was designated a recession, but in terms of any sort of prolonged economic effects, there weren't any.
Well, there were, but they weren't recessionary ones.
Right.
We just threw a bunch of money at the thing, and okay, within a year it was wow, now the big problem we have is we have too much money chasing too few goods. Inflation, yeah, we haven't had a recession in 17 years.
And what's wild about that is it means that the entire population under the age of 40 has really never invested through a real recession.
No.
They haven't. And look, plenty of folks that are listening right now and 70 years old know what that's like and have been through it. But for those who are working today and funding their future and looking ahead, you have to acknowledge that for the vast majority of people, right, everybody under the age of 40 have never truly worked and invested through a prolonged economic downturn like we've seen on many occasions throughout
and they
US
suck,
history.
by the way. It's recessions are not fun in any way, shape, or form.
The question to be asking yourself if you find yourself in that position, or even if you have lived through them and invested through them before, is how prepared do you feel? Because they aren't predictable in terms of when they come. But I can tell you that one of the best times to be preparing for them is when the economy is still chugging along and markets are near all-time highs. Right? That is the time to do the prep work, not when the market's already fallen by 30% and you're threatening to lose your job. If you aren't feeling as prepared as you could be for the possibility of a downturn, please give the folks at Armstrong Advisory Group a call. It's not that we have any idea when one is coming, but we sure do have the tools and knowledge to help you build a plan to address a future downturn. We work with clients across the country. We have offices located throughout New England, and we offer free consultations on this very subject. If you would like to book one, call us at 800-393-4001. You can book a time for us to call you back at armstrongadvisory.com, but that number, once again, 800-393-4001.
The proceeding was paid for by Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. Nothing in the ad or in any Armstrong guide is specific financial, legal, or tax advice. Consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong may contact you to offer investment advisory services.
Mike, Wall Street Journal has the list of airports that may start to see flight cancellations as of tomorrow.
Oh, hadn't seen that.
It's 40 of them, so just bear with me. Should I just try to go through all of them or just like the big
Any
ones?
ones we need to be aware of?
Phoenix Sky Harbor,
Just
LAX.
list every airport in the country and tell us whether or not there will be a shutdown.
Phoenix Sky Harbor, LAX, San Diego International, San Francisco, Denver, Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, Orlando, Miami, Tampa, Atlanta, Honolulu, Chicago Midway, and O'Hare, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Louisville, Logan, BWI, Detroit, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Charlotte, Newark, JFK, LaGuardia, McCarran, Portland, Philadelphia, Memphis, Dallas Love, and Fort Worth, Houston Hobby, Houston Bush, Salt Lake City, Reagan, Dulles, and Seattle Tacoma.
So all of them.
It's your biggest airports in the country.
I didn't hear Boston.
Logan.
Huh?
Boston, Logan. He said
I said
Logan.
Logan.
Did you say Logan? Oh,
I said Logan.
Oh.
Yeah, for those in the
Well, that
biz,
sucks.
Logan is Boston.
He announced the cities of every other airport. but
That's not
for
true.
Boston.
You mixed up because if
I
I
know,
say
I'm just-
BWI, the Baltimore people are like, yeah, you see us. And I'm like, of course I do.
Yep.
You know, the people that are out in, what else do we do? Yeah, we did. I did a little LAX. Like, people know that that's, it's lax.
Yeah.
So, you gotta give the people what they want. That's what this is all about. It's a, give and take. And with that in mind, let's take a quick break, and then we are going to have Paul LaMonica from Barron's on after this, and we'll chat with him.
Hear the Financial Exchange every day from 11 to noon on SiriusXM's Business Radio Channel 132. Keep it here for the latest business and financial news and the trends on Wall Street. The Financial Exchange is now live on SiriusXM's Business Radio Channel 132. This is the Financial Exchange Radio Network. The U.S. Virgin Islands isn't just a postcard. It's alive with rhythm, culture, and celebration. This December through early January, St. Croix lights up with the Crucian Christmas Festival, a heritage carnival tradition dating back to the 1800s. There are incredible parades through Frederiksted as the festival village buzzes with live music, reggae, soca, and local island beats, as well as streets filled with the scent of authentic Caribbean flavors. Beyond the festival, there's St. Thomas, fresh with cruise hub energy, duty-free shopping, and panoramic views at Magens Bay. St. John is quiet, wild, and pure, where every trail and beach is its own adventure. Explore one island or all three. Each offers something unique, all with warm hospitality and that easy island vibe. Travel from New England could not be easier. There's no passport needed and no money to exchange. This holiday season, plan your escape and fall naturally in rhythm with the heartbeat of the islands. Visit usvi.com and book your trip today. That's visit usvi.com. Estate planning isn't just about taxes. It's about peace of mind. At Cushing & Dolan, we believe your plan should protect your family, not complicate your life. A joint revocable trust can help you do both. It lets you avoid probate, which means no court delays, no public filings, and no stress for your loved ones. Your estate stays private, and your family stays in control. Our new guide, The Simplicity of Joint Revocable Trusts, also explains how a trust can protect your children's inheritance from creditors, divorce, or bad financial decisions down the road. This guide makes it easy to understand why a joint trust may be the smart move for your family's future. future. Call 866-848-5699 right now and ask for your free copy of The Simplicity of Joint Revocable Trusts. That's 866-848-5699. Or request it online from our website, LegalExchangeShow.com. The proceeding was paid for and the views expressed are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Cushing & Dolan and or Armstrong Advisory may contact you offering legal or investment services. Cushing & Dolan and Armstrong Advisory do not endorse each other and are not affiliated.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you from Senior Care USA. The average funeral now costs over $10,000. That leaves your loved ones the burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay your family up to $30,000 to help pay for your funeral and other expenses. There are no medical exams. Your rates will never increase, and your plan cannot be canceled, regardless of your medical conditions, as long as you make your premium payments. Get up to $30,000 in final expense insurance. Call now for free information. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 800-378-3818. 800-378-3818. 800-378-3818. That's 800-378-3818.
Environmental nonprofit Ocean River Institute is working with communities to tackle climate change with nature-based solutions that feature slowing water down and building more soil with grasses and plants. Research indicates that people acting in their own neighborhoods can build an inch of soil in a year and slow sea level rise down by as much as 25%. Please visit oceanriver.org for more information on opportunities to make a difference and go the distance for savvy stewardship of a greener and bluer planet Earth.
Let's talk LDL. AKA bad cholesterol. The higher your LDL cholesterol, the higher your risk of a heart attack or stroke. Your health matters. Know your number. Talk to your doctor and get your cholesterol checked. And learn how to help lower your LDL bad cholesterol. Because your health is in your hands. Find out more at heart.org/LDL.
The Financial Exchange streams live on YouTube. Subscribe to our page and stay up to date on breaking business news all morning long. This is the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
As promised, we're now joined by the one and only Paul LaMonica from Barron's. We're going to be talking a little bit about prediction markets and brokerage firms. Paul, how you doing today?
Good, thanks. How you guys doing?
Good. So I think one of the things that a lot of people don't realize about prediction markets, they are regulated futures contracts, correct?
Correct, yes. The ones that you're seeing on places like Robinhood, which have really increased their presence in this market over the past couple of months, they are regulated by the CFTC. So you have to be careful and make sure that if you're on any platform that doesn't have the blessing of the CFTC, you got to be careful.
So I naturally get my old fogey hat on, and when I see brokerages trying to offer, futures bets on their platforms, immediately I say, well, this is blurring the line between gambling and investing, and this isn't going to end well. I mean, right? Like that's kind of how I feel. But obviously, these companies think they can make a bunch of money on it, and I understand the financial incentives from their perspective.
Yeah, it's any investor that is doing this does have to be very careful because it is increasingly blurring the line between investing for the long term and making short-term trades that might be considered by some to be gambling, legalized gambling. I mean, there's a reason that one of the companies that is stepping up in prediction markets, the CME, they have a partnership with FanDuel, with the company that owns that popular sports betting site. So it's hard not to think of these as gambling. But what you're doing with Polymarket and Kalshi is partnering with Robinhood, you're getting the ability to make these binary calls on certain events, and some of them are important, financial and economic indicators, like what's going to happen with Fed rate cuts. But there are some that are sports related and pop culture related, and that I think that may be a little bit less about hardcore investing. But I think you're right. Robinhood Interactive Brokers, another firm that is stepping up its presence in this market. They do see it as potentially a new lucrative revenue stream, particularly from younger users. And then you have other companies like Schwab that are taking a lot more of a careful and cautious approach to this business and have not yet dipped their toe in it.
Paul, I'm old enough at this point now that I no longer fall into, that 25, to 35 demo. And, I'm not the lazy millennial anymore. Now I'm the mature, the mature millennial who, knows what's going on, obviously.
Yes,
and
the geriatric millennial, I believe.
Exactly. That's me. So
yes.
What I do know is, from the 25, 27-year-olds that I interact with, I would say a significant majority of men in that demo have a sports gambling problem at this point. And I'm just trying to look at this and figure out how this, adding this stuff into brokerage accounts can be in any way a positive, because we're seeing that when you have access to this just in your pocket, it becomes a problem in a way where if you have to go to a casino to place a bet, it's different. You don't have the same accessibility. Am I wrong in that this just feels like it's going to create additional societal problems, or am I just old fogeying way too hard on this?
Maybe it's a little bit in between. I think you are 100% right that the brokerage firms that have decided to get involved in this business, they need to do a very good job of educating their consumers about how this is different from investing, how you don't want to get out of control. But I don't think that's any different than obviously what anyone that's already using DraftKings or FanDuel to bet on sports need to be doing as well. And bottom line, there are risky types of investments even in the stock market that anyone can get out of hand if they go overboard, whether or not it's buying something like Apple or Microsoft or a other mature Magnificent Seven company, or betting on meme stocks. I think the issue isn't necessarily that the practice is bad. It's just that people have to obviously keep in mind that that they have to show good digital hygiene, if you will, and not go overboard with these types of speculative bets, whether or not it's on the next NBA game or the next Fed rate cut.
Very good, Paul. Appreciate the time and have a great rest of the day and a great weekend.
Great, thanks a lot. You too, Chuck. Appreciate it.
That is Paul Monica from Barron's, taking a quick look at markets as we head towards the top of the hour. Dow's now off 465 points, almost 1%. The S&P's off 79 points, almost 1.25%. And the NASDAQ Composite down 450 points, about 1.9%. So still continuing to see some growing red through equity markets right now. We do have the 10-year Treasury coming back in a little bit, down 7.6 basis points to 4.081%. So that has the potential to help mortgage rates a little bit heading into the weekend. But equities struggling so far this week. Just has not been their best showing to this point. We are done for the day, but don't worry. Tomorrow's Friday. We're going to be back, so you can hang out with us then, and we'll see you on tomorrow's show.